Well, it's been a mighty long winter break for Formula One in the MyDriver universe, but here we are then, racing in 2023. Welcome to round one of this championship here at the Bahrain Grand Prix. My name's Justin Sutton, and I'll be taking you through the story of practice throughout the series to give you all of the rundown of where everyone stands going into each race weekend. Now, off the back of preseason testing, the paddock confirmed its fears that Audi would once again be the team to beat in the engine department. Carlos Sainz topped the speed traps all day, but this will not guarantee Audi dominance. His teammate Sebastian Vettel was struggling to navigate his car to the same degree, and as was the case in past seasons, the Audis were seen to be a lot less competitive in the corners. Red Bull, Jaguar, and McLaren all looked super consistent in the long runs, but aarava stated in interviews that, quote, "The tires are such a mystery still, so we have no clue which way we're going to go, nor do we know how the others are faring." Meanwhile, over at Ferrari, reliability seemed to still be an issue, as was the case in preseason, with Leclerc sat in the garage for much of the practice. In stark contrast, new teams Porsche and Aston Martin put in the miles to get as much data as they could. Renault and Mercedes stuck to a strict program, with both outfits expressing they have room to improve on their understanding of the tires and are both awaiting major car updates come round two. As a whole, the entire F1 field appears to be spread by only 1 second, so come Saturday, it may be anyone's game. With the nature of how light these new 2023 cars are and how much of a mystery the new Pirelli tires appear to be, the slightest mistake or minor car imbalance might just see some big names down the order. Either way, it's set to be a scintillating new season, and with only 11 rounds, every single Grand Prix matters just that bit more. It's time to head on over to the grid rundown then, and see how the drivers fared in their first quali outing of the year. Bahrain has played host to the opening round of the Formula One season since 2020, and 2023 is no different. And here's how they'll line up on the grid. 2020 champion Carlos Sainz takes pole position for the 2019 Constructors champions Audi, and with the McLaren of Ricciardo joining him on the front row. The 2016 champion of Stoffel Vandoorne just missed out on the front row of the grid in his Jaguar, but did manage to outpace the Porsche-powered Red Bull of Gasly on row 2. Mick Schumacher makes his debut in the Ferrari from 5th position, going narrowly quicker than 2019 champion Max Verstappen in the Silver Arrows, making 6 different teams in the top 6. Row 4 has 9 world championships from the last 13 seasons between them. It's the McLaren of aarava in P7 and the Audi of Sebastian Vettel alongside him. And on row 5, it's Jack Aitken in his new BMW Williams and Jamie Chadwick making her Formula One debut for Aston Martin Racing, rounding out the top 10. Row 6 is an all-Porsche affair with the 23-year-old Lando Norris narrowly beating his 28-year-old teammate Pascal Wehrlein. In 13th position is the veteran Sergio Perez, who is celebrating his 13th season in Formula One this year. His BMW Williams will start alongside the Red Bull of Antonio Giovinazzi. The second Mercedes of George Russell will start from 15th position, 9 positions behind his teammate, while leading Renault driver Christian Lundgaard completes row 8. The Ferrari of Charles Leclerc struggled during the Saturday qualifying, only managing P17 on row 9 alongside the other Renault of Esteban Ocon. And bringing up the rear on row 10 is rookie Alex Albon in the Jag, while Callum Ilott has it all to do from P20.
Hey, what's up guys, aarava here, and welcome then to the start of a brand new F1 career mode season on the channel and the return of F1 MyDriver career mode. Season number 9 kicks off today here at the 2023 Bahrain Grand Prix. I can't believe I'm even saying these words, to be honest, but here we are then, and in the background you're going to see the formation lap taking place ahead of the race. If you guys did miss the pre-season video uploaded yesterday on this channel, then be sure to go check that one out before you see the rest of this video, because otherwise you will have no clue what is going on here. But that sets up this entire career mode season, all the driver transfers, all the teams competing in this 11 race season, which is going to mean that every single race matters that much more. But if you did watch on through the qualifying portion and the practice portion of this video, you would have seen a few big names are down the order. Charles Leclerc, especially in the Ferrari, having reliability issues throughout this entire weekend. He's going to have to make up places. We've slotted slot ourselves in our lucky number P7, so hopefully that is lucky for me in today's race, but the tyres are going to be such a mystery. The Pirelli tyres, every single team still very much kind of in the dark, I guess, so the best way to go about things in this race, and let alone the rest of the season with the tyres, so it will be kind of a stab into the unknown in this first round, and with that, for ourselves, from P7, hopefully we just have a very solid race and kick off the championship in the best way possible, and I'm sure we'll be seeing some fantastic racing throughout this race as well. But here we go then, after a long while, F1 MyDriver Career Mode is back on your screens today as we go to 5 red lights to round number 1 at the Bahrain Grand Prix. 4 red lights are out and we're underway, and it's initially a great getaway for us, a slow one ahead for Pierre Gasly, and we're going toe-to-toe with Max Verstappen into turn 1, and Vettel down the inside. Carlos Sainz leads the Grand Prix. Ricciardo fending off Van Dorn, but Van Dorn slipped it into P2. We're side by side with Sebastian Vettel for P7. We've got Verstappen into turn 1. Vettel flexing the muscles of our Audi engine straight away to overtake Pierre Gasly, and I'll have a look already at Mick Schumacher in the Ferrari. He's done a great job, I must say, qualifying so highly compared to his teammate. Had issues in qualifying, of course, yesterday, but we now find ourselves behind one of our arch rivals of this entire series, Pierre Gasly, my old teammate from season number 4 in the Red Bull there. On the right, we go toe-to-toe. It's a drag race now, off that corner, down the crest. He's got it round the outside, though, and Gasly has a great move to retake that position, and we have to settle down back behind the Red Bull in P7. So we've not really lost anything, but we've not gained much at all as well. But it was a lot of action into turn 1. Vettel used his engine to good use, of course, to overtake already, what's that, 3-4 positions from where he qualified there. Doing very well indeed. But leading the way then is the Spaniard, the 2020 world champion Carlos Sainz, from the 2016 world champion Stoffel Van Dorn, and then our new teammate Dan Ricciardo in P3. But so far so good. We survived the opening few corners and the opening lap here. Always quite nerve-wracking when you start a brand new series with this new cars, new engines, and just hoping nothing goes wrong. So now we can get our head down and try and catch back up to Gasly in P6. Meanwhile, Vettel up ahead, going for the move for P4 against Mick Schumacher in the Ferrari. The two Germans swap positions. Here we go then, making the move on Gasly. Early days on this career mode season. Lap number 2 into turn 1. Massive dive down the inside there. Lock up at the front right, and a little bit too much on the curb on the left-hander, and so that allows Gasly to get a better exit. So we'll be wheel-to-wheel with Gasly once again, and behind Verstappen having to defend against one of the Porsche cars as well, as we go on the left-hand side to maintain the P6, and Verstappen just manages to hang on to that P8 behind then. So at the moment, having to do some defensive work. Hopefully we can catch up to that Ferrari of Mick Schumacher up ahead, because I feel like the McLaren should have the race pace to try and beat the Ferraris today. I know Leclerc had issues in qualifying, but Schumacher's done well in quali, but I think overall we should have the pace, but the tyres are also going to be a massive issue and a mystery right now. I don't know honestly how long these softs will go for, how long we should take them for really compared to like the medium tyres and the hards available to us this weekend. But all I know is at the moment we're focused on behind us rather than forwards as Gasly comes back. Once again, we squeeze him to the inside there, but he keeps it through. He actually cuts the curb massively there. We go for this switchback. A little bit of contact made with Gasly as we do that, but now on the outside there, he pushes us wide. We're on the curb, and now we're nearly wheel banging there as we jockey for position. And also Verstappen is in the mix behind us, and he goes for a move, and he's now side by side with the Frenchman. We maintain the position, but now Gasly is fighting with Verstappen instead, and the Dutchman, ooh, he tried to go down the inside, couldn't quite make it there in his monster Mercedes car, and has to settle down for P8. But these guys are all going to be worried, including me maybe, because if we keep on fighting, we've got some very quick looking Porsche cars behind. But now we're going to take a look at a replay here. This is Antonio Giovinazzi in the other Red Bull. This is on the same lap I was fighting Gasly. Giovinazzi sends one down the inside. Obviously he qualified down the order after a few mistakes in Saturday, so having to make his way back up, and he's fighting the debutant in the Aston Martin racing car, Jamie Chadwick, the second female racing driver to be in the MyDriver series. Giovinazzi though round the outside, the long way round in the much quicker Red Bull car, able to make that overtake work, and so he's got the grip between his teeth. And the same can be said of this man, Charles Leclerc. Also massive reliability issues for him throughout pre-season testing, but look at this, 4 wide potentially is this going to be. It's 3 wide already between the Jaguar, Mercedes and BMW, and now Leclerc sends it through 3 wide into turn 1. Leclerc down the inside of Alexander Albon and Sergio Perez. They're still side by side. How have they made that work? And Perez now leads that train ahead of Albon. Leclerc still in there with DRS available also to them. Albon trying to go the long way round. Leclerc just sitting back right now. Will he be able to make the move? No, it doesn't look like it, because Albon is the one really pressing the issue, and behind then is Christian Lundgaard in the Renault, who's now also being overtaken. What a time to cut onto his onboard there as he gets overtaken by George Russell. But Russell's not quite finished the move there, and Lundgaard will retake the position. So the Brit struggling to get used to his new Mercedes car this season, but that was some lovely replay action. I'm sure we'll check in with some more replays as there's so much action to try and show you all based throughout these entire races. If you're new to the MyDriver series, that's nothing new. But here we go then, back onto the race lead. Van Dorn actually closing up on Carlos Sainz. Meanwhile, Vettel goes for a move, but here goes Van Dorn for the move for the race lead, and Sainz with a lock up there, but the Spaniard keeps his nose in somehow, and they're side by side on the exit, and Sainz maintains the lead. But great to see Van Dorn getting stuck in for the race lead. But now, because of that, he's been actually sent backwards, and Ricciardo has now gone for a move for P2. So instead of actually going forwards, Van Dorn looking backwards now as my teammate Ricciardo tries his best to get P2 back off Van Dorn. Of course, Ricciardo qualified on the front row, but lost out in the opening corners, and so for now maintains that P3 unfortunately for him, and Sainz can breathe a little bit more in the race lead. And Vettel lurking now in the second Audi, and look at that, Mick Schumacher doing a great job to hang on to the back of this top four fight here. The Ferrari did look pretty quick at times in pre-season testing, but of course has had some major reliability issues, so the debutant in the Scuderia did a fantastic job in these opening stages of his first Grand Prix for Ferrari. But now we look on at Vettel on Ricciardo once again. Vettel couldn't get this done last lap. Can he do it this time round? The Australian keeps it through, and they're side by side on the exit. Vettel having to be squeezed out and has to go again for the second bite, the cherry of DRS, and that invites Mick Schumacher in. Look at him go. Schumacher now down the inside of Vettel, and this is quite poetic. Of course, Vettel was a big fan of Michael Schumacher, and now he's going toe-to-toe with his son in Formula 1 round the outside to maintain that P4. But like I said, the young German not sticking about, and he's actually still side by side. How's he done that then? They're still neck and neck. This is absolutely fantastic. They're going to be side by side now for a whole half a lap. This will be. Can he go the long way round? Mick Schumacher, not quite, but he really isn't afraid to go for it in his first race for Ferrari. Maybe the fact that his teammate Leclerc's down the order has given him the confidence to maybe just go ahead and be the team leader, as it were, right now at this stage of this specific Grand Prix. But we go on to the next lap, and surely eventually this will be an overtake that's going to be booked in for Vettel, because that Audi's looking mighty quick in a straight line, as it has done historically in the MyDriver series, and Vettel is up into P3. Meanwhile, on the same straight behind, this is further back, a fight for the kind of last points paying positions. This is, I think, that is Lando Norris. Yeah, Lando Norris ahead of Antonio Giovinazzi and Max Verstappen, who's really struggling on those soft tyres there. We saw the Mercedes car was having issues in practice and pre-season with getting to grips with the tyres and its chassis in general, and now Giovinazzi has gone down to Lando Norris, so overtakes galore here. Norris on Verstappen, and then Giovinazzi on Norris as the Italian charges through. And he's actually only just behind Pierre Gasly now, who looks to be going a little bit slow, you know, there. So Giovinazzi already is right up the back, maybe, of his teammate, having qualified so far down the order. It looks like Gasly has some sort of issue. This surely can't be his pace. Yeah, he's slowing down massively. Look at that closing speed there, and look how far we're ahead now, ahead of Gasly, trying to do our best to chase after the top 5 pack. So this is Gasly in P7, but not for too much longer, as Giovinazzi sends it down the inside, and the Italian now becomes the lead Red Bull in this Grand Prix. And Gasly now, well, this is going to be painful for the Frenchman. This is just going to be him going backwards and backwards now, as the Porsche of Lando Norris right behind him, Verstappen there, and even behind them is Otto Wehrlein, the other Porsche, and the BMW of Sergio Perez. You've got to remember, of course, it's early days. It's round number 1 of this brand new championship season, so reliability will be an issue for the teams out there getting to grips with these brand new V8 turbo engines, and of course there's all brand new cars already as well. So Gasly at the moment going backwards, but at the same time there's still some fighting going on with the cars around him trying to overtake him, as now we've got Verstappen defending against the BMW and Porsche, and Gasly actually managed to try and get back ahead of Lando Norris there in the brake zone. And then behind them, further behind, is Chadwick v Jack Aitken. These two familiar with each other in junior series. Aitken trying to go on the left hand side, but Chadwick defends successfully for now, and Gasly is now down the order behind the other Porsche. I think that is a Wehrlein. And speaking of Wehrlein, we're actually going to ride on board with him now, and we're going to watch on and how this shape up now. Now we're going to go for a move on the outside. Oh, what a lovely dive there from the veteran of MyDriver career mode. Pascal Wehrlein makes a double pass on Verstappen and the BMW of Perez, and that was, and then goes for a third overtake on Gasly. So Wehrlein really not hanging about, and he's loving life in his brand new white, red and grey Porsche Formula 1 car. But Gasly going down the order, facing reliability issues. Shame for him. Obviously, I think those will be resolved eventually. They don't go for too long in this game, but we'll just have to kind of see and update you. But on lap number 6, we are closing up to the top 5 slowly but surely, and that's why I'm deciding to come in early and take the gamble on lap number 6 for an early first pit stop. The strategy today looks to be a 2-stop for most cars. There is the possibility of maybe a 1-stop, but I feel like with the degradation, the 1-stop is going to be way too risky for most cars, and that's the thing though with these new Pirelli tyres. Throughout pre-season testing, no team really knew what the best way to go about it is. The tyres are meant to degrade quite quickly, but at the same time, some cars have been, seen to, be quite easy on their tyres. So I'm going to take the gamble here, go on to the medium tyres, because I felt the softs were wearing out quite quickly. So we're going to go for a massive undercut, or at least I hope is going to be a massive undercut, and try and gain some positions and get into that top 5 fight this way with the pit stop strategy. But we'll check back in with that and see how that progresses. Meanwhile, whilst we're on those out laps, we've got fighting still going on down the field. This is Russell v Leclerc there, Mercedes v Ferrari, and Leclerc on the left-hand side on medium tyres, so he's going longer in this GP, and you can see he finds the grip to go around the outside. I was just about to say, literally, I think the Mercedes car should soon see some pretty poor tyre wear on those soft tyres, so I would have expected the Ferrari to take that position. But now we've got a great little battle brewing here. Look at this, the two Porsche cars, the new teammates, Lando Norris and Pascal Wehrlein, going toe-to-toe in the last corner, and now Wehrlein comes back at his younger teammate here on the right-hand side. The two go neck and neck into turn 1, both closing up to Giovinazzi as well, so the Porsche F1 cars seemingly hitting the ground running, like we mentioned in the pre-season video, a technical partnership with Red Bull, and of course Porsche as a brand have a great pedigree in motorsport, so you can see how they've hit the ground running, and they're actually having a great squabble here. It's going to be made a bit too frosty for the man on the pit wall. Not too sure who the team principal is at Porsche these days, but Wehrlein round the outside of Lando Norris, and the two are having a great ding-dong battle for, I believe that is P7 and P8 respectively, and the battles are going to continue on because further down the field, this is Gasly being swarmed by the two BMWs and the Aston Martin there of Jamie Chadwick, being overtaken though by, I think that is Sergio Perez or Jack Aitken, can't quite tell. Chadwick comes back at, I think that's Aitken, yes it is, by the orange helmet. Aitken on the outside, Chadwick trying her best to get down the inside, doesn't quite work for her, but she's still the lead Aston Martin at this stage by a long way, as Callum Ilott struggling at the back, and meanwhile also the same can be said of Esteban Ocon and George Russell. But here we are then, lap number 9, and the pit stops are being made, and look at the undercut we have gained. We're now outside, on the inside of Dan Ricciardo I should say, side by side with our teammate, and we're up the order. So the stab into the unknown with the tyre wear and the strategy gamble has paid off massively for us. So we go defensive there. Ricciardo tries to go the long way around, and now he's actually having to fend off Mick Schumacher in the Ferrari. So both of them came out behind me, and now Mick Schumacher around the outside. What a move there from the German, but the Australian comes back. Can he keep it through? Yes, he can. Ricciardo gets the elbows out to maintain the position. McLaren v Ferrari on the exit there. Schumacher's got the inside line though, and Ricciardo's going to have to really sail it around if he wants to make the move, and he's actually going to do it. Look at that camera angle. He's still there. Ricciardo, what a move to keep that through. Can he get enough speed in a straight line? Let's see. Jaguar power v Ferrari power. Schumacher's still got the inside line. That surely is going to be able to allow him to squeeze the Australian out, but Rick Bobby keeps the nose in and keeps it planted. He's just got his right foot on the floor and just is not giving up this fight, and they're still now battling as we go on towards the end of the lap. This is just insane. You know what, I'm going to say now, I've missed this. I've missed commentating on AI battles like this. My word, it's good to have F1 MyDriver back. Here we go, Schumacher v Ricciardo. Once again, Schumacher recomposes himself, got the DRS, and this time it's a slingshot off the last corner to get the place. But let's see, let's keep on this, let's keep an eye on this battle as we run through this Grand Prix, because I'm sure Ricciardo will not go down too easily without a fight. And meanwhile, speaking of fights, we've got the two Porsche Formula 1 cars now side by side. We've got Wehrlein sending it down the inside of Lando Norris, and this is for the race lead as it stands here, because these two are start of the medium tyres, so they're now leading the Grand Prix. So it's a Porsche 1-2 right now on track with the BMW Perez in P3. So obviously it may not be for too long, because eventually they'll have to make their pit stops, but a great bit of just a scene, I guess, for the guys back at the factory to see their two drivers leading the way and battling for the race lead as it stands. But this is Van Dorn in a train of traffic, and there is Carlos Sainz 3-4 positions back from Van Dorn. So that surely means Van Dorn is in a net race lead of this Grand Prix. So I think he's done it in the pit stops. The Audi, I guess, had a lot of tyre wear, maybe went one lap longer than the Jaguar team, and so Van Dorn has jumped Sainz in the pit stops. But the difference is Sainz has gone onto a set of hard tyres, the white wall tyres, whereas Van Dorn's done what pretty much everyone else has done, and either gone to a set of softs or mediums. I've gone into mediums. I think Van Dorn's chosen mediums as well, and you can see behind on the top left, Schumacher has chosen the soft tyre. So majority of the teams have chosen a softer compound than the hard tyres, but the Audis, I think both of them chosen the hard compound, so they're going for the gamble that they can go to the end of the Grand Prix maybe, and that might pay out for them. We'll have to see, but for now, Van Dorn will effectively lead the race once everyone makes their pit stops. We're having to make our way through this traffic. I've made my way through Esteban Ocon. Ahead of me, you can see Sainz just made his way through Callum Ilott, and we're going to do the same. It's a late lunge. Sorry, Callum, as we go down the inside, and it was a very late lunge, but I had to catch him napping a little bit because I want to try and stay in the DRS of Sainz, because if I can use him as a bit of a horse and carriage, because of course, as horses go, the Audis are pretty damn quick one in straight lines. I can use him to reel me into the top fight with Van Dorn. You know, we're fighting for the podium, for the race win potentially, so let's just see how it goes. I don't know where Sebastian Vettel is in all of this either, but I'm sure he's going to be in the mix as well. As we now move on to the next lap, finding ourselves behind Alexander Albon, having a tough time in his new Jaguar, obviously his debut in Formula 1 in the MyDriver universe here in 2023, and so can we try and overtake the Thai Brit? We've got DRS available. Sainz just up the road. He's already making another move, so he's just putting cars between us, like hurdles basically for me to try and overtake. So can we get the Jaguar and then move on to that Renault? He's overtaking Christian Lundgaard, I believe it is. I think Christian's doing a much better job at the moment compared to Esteban Ocon, his more senior teammate. Here we go, this switch from the right to left round the outside. It's a very unconventional place to make an overtake, but we're going to make it stick and get up into P8 and continue to put on the pressure on Carlos Sainz, who actually did not finish the overtake on the Renault. So the Renault actually had the downforce in the corners compared to the Audi to maintain that position. So just showing the dynamic we've got here this season once again, like we did a few seasons ago in this career mode, where the Audi is so quick in a straight line, but in the corners, even the Renault can go toe-to-toe with it. And meanwhile now, we continue to watch on this fight for the race lead on the road between the two Porsche Formula 1 cars and also the BMW. They're going to go 3 wide for the race lead. Sergio Perez on the right, though, looks like he's got the overspeed to take the race lead from both of them there. Perez obviously no stranger to leading Grand Prix in the MyDriver career mode. He used to drive for Audi, remember, back in seasons 5 and 6, and led many Grand Prix and won a few as well. Perez, though, has got the lead, but he's for how long? Because you can see Lando Norris gets the nose. It's such fine margins, making contact with his teammate as well, but he tried to make the move, but Perez maintains that and soaks up the pressure as you would imagine a previous race winner would. But the two Porsche Formula 1 cars already looking so feisty with each other, let alone other cars, so already maybe becoming one to watch throughout this entire season. They're going to be that close the entire way through all 11 races. But we're now back to our POV then on lap number 14, right up the back of the Renault junior driver promoted to Renault this year, Christian Lundgaard in P4. You'll notice we're in P5 and 4 because now all the others ahead of us have made their pit stops, including Lundgaard, who is in that kind of gaggle of cars that start on the medium tyres. So the leader now is Stoffel Van Dorn from Carlos Sainz in second place and myself in third. But you saw that I snaked across to try and get some last-minute slipstream off Lundgaard, because remember, these cars now are 100 kilograms lighter than the predecessors, so slipstream means even more now in this brand new formula we've got this season. But here is Van Dorn, leads the way from Carlos Sainz, then myself in third place. As a rundown, Sebastian Vettel in P4, so we did jump Sebastian Vettel in the first round of pit stops. He's ahead of Mick Schumacher and Ricciardo, but Vettel also, like Carlos Sainz, on the hard tyres, may be going to the end of the Grand Prix. And the same is said for Giovinazzi in P7. He's also only the third man in this entire Grand Prix, I think, that was on hard tyres. So these three have made the gamble. Maybe they know more than I do in terms of the pre-season testing data they've got in terms of how long those hard tyres go, but the rest of us don't think they can go the distance, or they will be wearing out. So we'll have to check in on that. But you can see so much fighting going down the order, even outside the points here. But these are for the last few points. Sergio Perez versus the two Porsche Formula 1 cars of Verline and Lando Norris. But we cut back to then our fight versus Carlos Sainz, or a fight I hope that will be brewing right now. We're on lap 15, so just over halfway through this Grand Prix. Can we now send one down the inside of Carlos Sainz? Yes, we can. He's a little bit slow. He's on the hard side, so we should have the pace to beat him. But in a straight line, look how quick that Audi engine is. It's just biblical in a straight line. So he's back ahead of us for P2. So this could go on for a while if we can't get the move. But at the same time, I'm also thinking, should we maybe not fight him and use him to pull ourselves into Van Dorn? We'll have to see. For now, I am going to fight him a little bit because I do fancy trying getting up into P2 and seeing how I can go in some clean air. And so here we go, jockeying for position into turn 1 with Carlos Sainz. This is actually really neat because we've already fought Pierre Gasly, and now we're fighting our second big championship rival of the entire MyDriver career. And there's some contact made on the exit. It's getting a little bit frosty between myself and Carlos Sainz here on this on lap number 16. He maintains the P2. Every single time I overtake him, he just waltzes through in a straight line there with that Audi engine just flexing away. And you can see Sebastian Vettel behind is closing up. So this is what I mean. Is it maybe going to be better for us not to fight Sainz too much, use him again like we did before to pull in Van Dorn and get away from Vettel there, who's lurking in the background. Meanwhile, we've got some fighting with Verstappen and Giovinazzi. Verstappen on the faster compounded tyre, the soft tyre, so he should be able to make this move. But of course, from what we saw in the first stint, I think the Mercedes car definitely isn't too kind on his tyres, so he may fall backwards eventually. But the 2019 world champion then of MyDriver goes down the inside and is wheel to wheel with Giovinazzi down this straight. The BMW comes in for a pit stop then, so he's out of sync of that Grand Prix, and Giovinazzi maintains that. And meanwhile, look at that in the background shot there on this same bit of tarmac just down the road. It's 3 wide once again for these 3 drivers: Lando Norris, Pascal Wehrlein and Sergio Perez. Norris on the inside, Wehrlein in the middle, and now he's side by side with his teammate, and Perez just hangs back here and is maybe just biding his time. I think potentially these 3 also on the hard tyres, of course, so they've joined the 2 Audis and Giovinazzi. But remember, these 3 started on the medium, so they have cause to maybe try the one-stop. But I'm still, very unsure if the one-stop will work out for the top guys because they have to start on the soft tyres. I guess we'll see, but that's the whole point of the new season, the new tyres. It's a bit of a mystery here, so we move on to lap number 18. Speaking of the tyres, we're going to come in for a pit stop and cover off Stoffel Van Dorn. Van Dorn, the race leader, has come in off his set of medium tyres. I'll do the same, and we'll cover him off in that respect. But this is where we find out if the Audi strategy will be the winning one, because Carlos Sainz has inherited the race lead now, of course, on the hard tyres, and the same for Vettel. Vettel will inherit P2, so it's a 1-2 for Audi right now. And can myself and Van Dorn and even the guys behind me be quick enough to catch back up? Will those hard tyres last? Let's find out, I guess, in these last 10 laps of this Grand Prix, as we come out just ahead of that battle between Perez and the 2 Porsche Formula 1 cars. As we now watch Ocon and Russell fighting through the last corner. They're both on the hard, so they're actually going to the end of the Grand Prix, and then found themselves ahead of Ricciardo, my teammate, remember, who's on the 2-stop like myself. So they're 3 wide now, 4 wide. Ferrari v McLaren v Mercedes v Renault. Stupendous scenes there, and Leclerc is the Ferrari that finds it down the inside, but then Ricciardo gets it. For some reason, Leclerc very slow off the exit, but Leclerc and Ricciardo now a little bit down the order, I guess, and out of sync, and they're fighting for the last points-paying positions. Remember, top 12 gets the points today, so there's still some points in it for potentially the likes of Ocon and Russell or Lundgaard in the mix there. But leading the way, like I said, is the 2 Audis, then this man, P3, Antonio Giovinazzi in the Red Bull, all 3 of them on the hard tyres. Then you've got Van Dorn in P4 on mediums, myself as well. Then behind us 2 are Sergio Perez. Then you've got Mick Schumacher down the inside. It's 3 wide, the Porsche on the outside as well of Lando Norris, and Schumacher loses a position to Norris rather than gaining one in Sergio Perez. But these 4 now are fighting, so great stuff. It's become from a 3 to a 4-way fight for these middle points-paying positions between Wehrlein, Norris, Schumacher and Perez. And then behind them is this different respective battle between Ricciardo, Leclerc, I think that's Lundgaard or Ocon versus Russell. So very interesting times here, and so many different kind of battles and pockets of battles going on. Great to see. But now we're in the last 9 laps of this Grand Prix, so it's getting towards crunch time, and I need to try and get past Van Dorn, because as much as I think he's, quick, he's obviously got some good pace, I don't think he's going to be quick enough to maybe catch up to Giovinazzi. He's not looking like it, as we now try and go around the outside. Never going to work, though, on that left-hander, so we have to just stick behind and wait patiently for the DRS now on this next straight. We're a little bit far back from my liking, but we're closing up with the DRS open there. Van Dorn will go a little bit defensive. He opens up the space. We go around the outside, get the nose in, but Van Dorn squeezes. We're on the curb, though, a little bit too wide as we come through the next right-hander, closing up and going a little bit too right, and we have a snap of oversteer and just about catch the car. And that kind of car control, all thanks to how lightweight the cars are. The car's less lethargic now due to the weight reduction throughout every single car, so we can continue on fighting. Then that means means with Van Dorn side by side into the last corner, and we get the job. We get the elbows out to squeeze him out, but that actually might pay him in benefit because he's now got a great run with some slipstream. Neither of us have got DRS, but we squeeze him right to the wall there. Great action. He's on the right, we're on the left. Can we go and make a switchback? Maybe break early? No, he's locked up and blocked off that switchback actually quite nicely. And so now we're side by side again through the left-hander. This time though, we get the job and we're back up into P4. We've got the DRS, thankfully, actually to help me out there. And so we can continue on and maybe now finally chase after Giovinazzi. Meanwhile, behind us, we've got a great squabble still going on. And Sergio Perez is leading it ahead of the two Porsche Formula 1 cars and the Ferrari of Mick Schumacher. Perez just about, though, gets overtaken by Norris. So the Porsches really aren't also getting put down easily there. And Perez, even though he's making the moves, he's being like re-overtaken straight away, basically, as Norris is back through on the inside. There's still wheel-to-wheel, though, to be fair. So will the Mexican have this? Yes, he will. Round the outside. Great fighting. There's actually so much fighting, I can't actually keep up with it. I can't be completely honest there. But it's Perez from Norris, Verline, Schumacher, Ricciardo, Leclerc, and then this is, I believe, Christian Lundgaard ahead of George Russell. These two on a one-stop, on hard tyres. And to be fair, that's saving their Grand Prix because I believe they're both ahead of their respective teammates in this Grand Prix now as we move on to lap 22, and I'm a sitting duck in a straight line because look at the bottom right. I had no ERS to deploy. I was on none because there was no point trying to deploy anymore because I would have ran out of it down the straight. So Van Dorn's re-overtaken me. So it's the ebb and flow of this Grand Prix now with the ERS. So now I've got to try and save some ERS and come back. We've got the laps to do it. I'm going to do just down to lap 23. We have enough to play around with and we're within DRS now. So we're going to actually save ERS in none and overtake Van Dorn. We go for a very over-dramatic move. And once again, we're side by side with the man we had a championship fight with back in Season 2 of this career mode. And we get it back up into P4. But the Jaguar Works car's not going to give up without too much of a fight. It's Jaguar Works versus the Jaguar Power McLaren. Van Dorn on the outside. He's got the DRS now, that was, on that second mini straight. And he's gone the long way around. He's kept his nose in. And look on the left-hand side as we go into the next corner. He's dived around the outside. It's done so well there. And so now we're still side by side. We're smashing front left tyre to front right tyre, and it's getting very frosty indeed as the FI warn us for collision. So it's getting very, very close and fine margins between myself and Van Dorn. But for now, we're going to maintain the P4. I'm just hoping that eventually we can close up to this man Giovinazzi because he is up the road, but he's not actually too far up the road, and he is suffering some tyre wear. But for now, Van Dorn continues to annoy the hell out of me in this Grand Prix and gets it back down the inside. That Jaguar car is just proving to be a bit too good for me at the moment. But now we watch on back behind us. Sergio Perez versus Mick Schumacher once again in this fight, along with the two Porsche Formula 1 cars of Verline and Norris. I think Verline's a little bit further back there. One of the Porsches is lagging behind. We've got Schumacher leading the way, but also at the same time, Perez comes through. Also, maybe Norris down the inside. Yes, I think that's Verline down the inside. Yes, it is Verline on the right. Can't quite make it though. And Schumacher maintains what is, I think, P7 in this Grand Prix, or P5. I can't quite. I think it's P5, you know, actually. So quite a lofty position for the debutant in Ferrari. But Verline, the veteran of this series, having something to say about it and goes back down the inside. And meanwhile, we've still got a squabble going on for P11 and P12, the last points paying positions between Lundgaard and George Russell. Great to see, and that's what I mean with the top 12 points up for grabs. You've still got fighting going on for the last positions because they mean that much more. They mean championship points. But here we go, back to our fight with Van Dorn. Lap 25 now, 4 laps to go in this Grand Prix. Can we get the job done and finally get it done? We stick behind Van Dorn on purpose here, behind him into turn 1, because I want to just try and get past him quickly in this next straight and then just try and push like a stabbed rat in sector 2 and pull away, because I can't keep on doing this yo-yo effect we're doing right now. So here we go, big pounce around the outside, hot lap mode engaged now, and we sail around with ease. And now we use hot lap mode throughout sector 2 and just push away from Stoffel Van Dorn and try and catch up to Giovinazzi and try and break that 1 second DRS drain that Van Dorn keeps maintaining with us. And I'm going to guess at this stage of the Grand Prix, that's exactly what Mick Schumacher wishes he could do compared to these guys behind him, because here we go, on board with Verline now, back on board with Schumacher, and look at the scenes here, either side of the German, and they make the move. It just looks so beautiful for some reason. That just looked exquisite. Either side of the red Ferrari car, we've got the BMW of Perez and then the Porsche of Verline, but Schumacher comes back, and look at this. This is why the squad's been so good. These three cars are so equalised, it would seem, in terms of race pace at this stage of the GP. Hard tyre versus mediums. Perez on the outside, Schumacher on the inside. Can go the long way. Schumacher keeps his car in. Yes, he does. Keeps the foot in. Marvellous stuff. They're 2x2 even, because look at behind them. You've got Norris and Verline side by side, and that actually has allowed Ricciardo and Leclerc to close up. So this four-way fight may become a six-way fight if they're not careful, because Ricciardo and Leclerc are lurking around in the background. As now Schumacher's gone a bit too deep, and Verline has managed to sail it to the inside and get the position on the German. So German v German, and he gets the position here. Leclerc closing up in P10. Wanderville makes some last-minute overtakes, and behind, these are the cars scrapping for the last positions, and Verstappen getting swarmed there. So Mercedes have a lot of homework to do after this Grand Prix to figure out what has gone on wrong for him, as we now move back towards our POV on lap 27, chasing after Giovinazzi now for P3, potentially behind us. Yellow flags, and that's the engine going pop, and smoke coming out of Stoffel Van Dorn's Jaguar Works car. We said it in pre-season, we said it in practice. Jaguars still have that issue of reliability, and it's come home to fester. What do we say in pre-season? That was the one worry for Jaguar, and myself really, because that's why I left Jaguar 2 seasons ago, remember, because they were so unreliable and just wasn't quick enough. And there you go, the engine's gone pop, and so that's Van Dorn out of the Bahrain Grand Prix. For us though, thankfully our Jaguar engine in the back of our McLaren is still going decently as we go on towards lap 28 now, the 2 last laps of this Grand Prix, and our medium tyres are a lot quicker than Giovinazzi's. They're going off, and we go for the move on the Italian on the outside, but Gio gets it back down the inside. We go for this switchback move on him on the right-hand side. Now we're side by side on the exit, having to take to the curb a little bit. Deja vu from what we had to do against Pierre Gasly in the opening laps of this GP. Giovinazzi comes back at me though, back down the inside, and so we go wheel to wheel on the exit. He's got the elbows out, he's forced us wide, and so now into the next corner, he really sends for it, and we're still having to battle for this, and we actually get it on the curb a little bit on the left-hand side, so we have to go opposite lock midway through the corner and keep the car going in the right direction. So really finally on the edge of grip and balance in this McLaren of ours, and as you know, of course my tyres are going off as well. It's not just his tyres, but the mediums appear to still be performing better than these hards going off. That's exactly what we're all worried about in terms of the tyres going into this Grand Prix. But here we go now, going for the move on the outside up the hill. Giovinazzi gives us no room at all. I was going to say he's going to give us a little bit of room, but no, he completely squeezed out completely. So the Italian really wants to maintain this P3, so we're going to have to come knocking onto towards the last lap of the Grand Prix. We get a great exit through the right-hander, so we'll actually be side by side going into the last lap of the Grand Prix. And actually, in fact, we might be a little bit ahead because he goes a bit wide on the exit. He's still got the room, and we have a bit of oversteer, you can see on the steering wheel, so he actually gets a great exit. And so now it's a drag race across the line onto the last lap of this Grand Prix. We get back in the slipstream of Antonio Giovinazzi on the inside. Will he leave us the space to work with? It's going to be very fine. Bit of a graze of the side pod, but he makes it work and just about gives us enough room. We get a great exit to the point where we're literally pushing the Italian through that corner. We're now on the left-hand side, the long way around. Can we try and get to the apex? No, we can't, because the Red Bull still has the nose in, and so we're still going at it on the exit. But this time round, we're not going to let him have the space on the inside, and we're going to cut across and get up into P3 and onto the podium of the Bahrain Grand Prix on the last lap of the race. Great stuff there. The tyres holding out and the performance holding out of the McLaren versus the Red Bull. Meanwhile, behind, Mick Schumacher is in P5, and he looks like he might just settle that down ahead of Pascal Wehrlein, doing a great job in the Porsche. From the BMW of Sergio Perez, then Norris, Leclerc, and I believe P11 and 12 will be Lundgaard and Russell for the last points-paying positions. But here we come through, watching on the race leader, the Spaniard, the 2020 world champion. He's going to win the first race of 2023. Carlos Sainz wins it for Audi. It's a 1-2 for the German team as well. They've had a very easy time in the second half of that Grand Prix, and I believe that dominant display is a little bit false, because I feel like if the rest of us didn't fight so much and we're closer to those two cars, I think it would have been a closer scrap. So we're going to come through the last corner. No ERS to deploy, right on the edge of the limit for P3 and the first podium of the year. year, a very solid race for us, and overall, I cannot complain about the race we just watched there. Fantastic fighting all the way down the field, but here is your race winner, Carlos Sainz, the Spaniard, in the Audi. But my, that entire Grand Prix had it all. So much fighting, and I hope you guys enjoyed it as much as I did, really. Your full race results then are on your screen there. Carlos Sainz takes it ahead of Vettel, myself, Giovinazzi in P4, Schumacher from Verline, Perez, Ricciardo, Norris, Leclerc, and then the last 2 points paying positions, George Russell and Christian Lundgaard, with a great debut for Renault and in Formula 1 overall. But in terms of the points awarded for the top 12, you can see the win still gives you 25 points, plus 1 for the fast lap of the Grand Prix, which Carlos Sainz did get, and then it's 2 by 2 all the way down to 1 point for P number 12. So the Drivers' Championship obviously is the same as the top 12 in the Grand Prix. In terms of the constructors, though, Audi have an early lead at this stage. Us at McLaren in second place. Ferrari, to be fair, surprised to see them in P3. I thought Porsche and Red Bull would have had that, but Mick Schumacher, you got to say, did a fantastic job in his debut for Ferrari to get that P5. But Porsche looking very strong, and I guess Red Bull kind of a little bit annoyed because Gasly, with that mechanical issue, he would have been right up there. So I think Red Bull probably would have been a safe bet for P3 if it hadn't have been for Gasly's issues. And also, you can say the same thing about Jaguar, because they're down in last place behind Aston Martin with 0 points to their name, because Albon had such a tough time in his first race in Formula 1, and obviously Van Dorn had an engine failure from what was P4 on the Grand Prix. So it's a tough old sport, of course, but I'm sure they'll score, because, you know, the 8 out of 10 teams have scored in the first race. So there's no way that every single team will not score points eventually in this season, even if it is a very short 11 race calendar. But guys, that has been then the very first race of F1 MyDriver Season 9 2023, the Bahrain Grand Prix. If you guys did enjoy the race and the entire episode, then be sure to smash that up button. I gotta say, you guys absolutely have killed the support so far in pre-season, the announcement videos I made, the trailer video. It's been absolutely just, my breath's been taken away. I really just have been taken aback so much by just all the insane amount of love in the comments, the response. I mean, I know this was a fan favorite series. I know this was my favorite series, but you just don't really realize how much people enjoy things maybe when you're not doing them and then you bring it back. So it really has made me just kind of open my eyes to how much you guys did love a series like this, where it's, you know, full on editing, full on story mode, full on creativeness. And to be honest, I've had the most fun making this video than I have in the last few months, really. Not to say I haven't enjoyed making the videos, obviously, but this has been really top tier fun to make, and it's just great to be back commentating on an F1 MyDriver career mode race. So thank you to you guys as well for showing so much support, and I can't wait to read through the comments of this episode, especially because it's the comeback, of course, Season 9, one final season. If you're new around here and you've stuck around all the way to the end, well, one, congratulations, because it's been quite a long video. If you are new, then do get subscribed for weekly Formula 1 content. I've been aarava. Hope you guys enjoy the rest of your day. I'll see you guys next time. Goodbye.